It looks like I'm on now. So everybody, yeah, off to a great start. Hello everybody. This is Prey 2017, and I'm going to do it without going out of bounds. So first thing is I'm going to load from a save file here, because loading from the save file starts me out right after the opening cutscene. Sort of the important thing about using the save file is that at the very start of the game, all of the items in the first area are, well, they're randomized, but they're determined when the file is created. So I'm using this specific file because I know one of the bodies nearby is going to have a wrench on it, which I'm going to need. So if we're ready to go, we can start the time in 3, 2, 1, go. So if you've seen the any percent run, you would know that, I'll move the mic a little bit. Normally you don't even bother grabbing the suit, you just grab a stool, head to the bathroom, and get straight on out of bounds. You can't do that in this category. But we also don't want to sit through a 8 or 9 minute intro sequence. Morning. So we get a slightly different clip instead, which looks a little bit silly. And before anybody starts complaining that I'm clipping through a wall and no out of bounds, it's fine. The community as a whole actually agreed that this clip is allowed because both the inside and outside of this elevator are inbounds areas. And this is a really obnoxious clip. Okay, got most of the way through. Okay, let's just redo this real quick. This is the biggest reset point in the entire run, mostly because this clip is not super reliable. That's also why any percent doesn't use this clip anymore. That looks better. There we go. And you can see I just popped through there. Never actually went out of bounds, just kind of popped from one side of the wall to the other. So like I mentioned earlier, this body has a wrench, which I need.
Hello, Morgan. It's time.
Now we're going to do another little trick. Normally walking in here starts a little cutscene that we'd have to sit through.
If you want to know what's going on, first,
And you can kind of wedge yourself into the corner here.
you're not safe.
And climb up this and go over the top of that cutscene trigger. You can get out the door without having to watch the cutscene.
Good. You're in the simulation lab. Now get to the
Too bad we couldn't save that guy.
keep in contact.
You just get to watch him die over and over every time I do runs.
No one has been
So I
able
grabbed the
to
glue gun.
multiply
That's going to be pretty useful for the run.
you stay alive.
And now I'm also going to grab my first neuromod. I'm going to use it immediately, because for whatever reason, using this very first neuromod without moving from its spawn point skips the little cutscene that normally plays the first time you use a neuromod. That's just a nice little time save to do it right then. Alright, so now we're heading into the lobby. And there's a bunch of running around to do in the lobby. First things first, gonna get a med kit off of that guy, which also gives me a nice little bit of time to regenerate some stamina. And I'm sliding around because sliding has the same movement speed as sprinting, it just doesn't consume any stamina. So here, I picked up another neuromod, which I'm going to need in just a little bit. I also picked up recycler grenades. And those are very important for no out of bounds because they're very important for no out of bounds because that's what allows most of the skips in this run. It also helps to know the access code to your own office.
Welcome back. This has been your home for the last 3 years.
Okay, so I start that cutscene.
Workstation.
Now I have until this cutscene ends to run around and do whatever I want. The first thing, I'm going to recycle a bunch of junk. I'm going to shoot some glue on this door and throw a recycler at it. And this does some weird stuff, as you can see. So now, that door's hitbox isn't there anymore. And this is a glitch that we call door displacement. And I'll try to explain how it works. It's that when you shoot the glue onto an object, the hitbox of the object and the glue kind of merge into one complete hitbox. And then throwing the recycler grenade has that kind of black hole effect, which tries to pull the glue off of the door, but it can't actually pull the glue off of the door, so instead what happens is it pulls the entire door completely out of its frame. I'm going to say it is the main reason I picked up this category, because it's a really fun glitch to do. So all the while I'm running around out here, that cutscene that I started up in the office is still playing. And just doing all this stuff that you normally can't do, because normally you're stuck inside the office watching the scene. And sometimes Morgan just doesn't like to climb. There we go. And sometimes Morgan just likes to jump off the railings. Okay, Morgan, stay up here this time. Thank you.
Sorry, Morgan. Alex cut us off.
Funny thing is, I'm actually not losing any time yet for all of this, because the cutscene is still playing.
I suggest you search Dr. Calvino's workshop in the hardware labs. He invented the looking glass technology.
I just need to run over here,
Server connections there. I'm looking for another way to help you.
grab the last few neuromods that I'm going to get for a while. Get a couple of upgrades. Now I've got maximum running speed and jump height. This is really nice. I'm going to grab that, break this stuff out of the way so that it's gone when I come back. And now we're heading into the hardware labs. Because if you were paying attention to what little dialogue you could actually hear of that cutscene, Alex Yu doesn't want us watching it, so he shut it down. And we kind of need to watch it. I'll just glue that thing to keep it out of my way. Open up this safe. That gets me a couple of recycler grenades that I'm going to need. Grab that, thank you. Run over here. At this point I'm still just kind of collecting items that I'm going to need throughout the rest of the run. Most of which are recycler grenades, which are actually fairly difficult to come by because there aren't many places that they normally spawn. In an older version of this route, it used to be that it kind of relied on them spawning in random places, like that bin I just checked. That's not always recyclers, and it was pretty normal to lose a run to just not finding enough recyclers to do everything. So here I'm going to displace this door, because I need to get into that workshop.
Calvino probably has a key card. You can locate him, or what's
I need to activate this thing to fix the cutscene in Morgan's office. It's going to tell me that the code I need is 715. I just go here, hit 715, and everything's fixed. Just like how real computers work.
Nice work, Morgan. The looking glass screens are online again. Head back to your office as soon as you can. It's important you hear the rest
So
of
now I'm on my way back to his office. And of course the loading screens in this game are actually obnoxiously long. Alright, so now I'm just going to head on back to my office. Jump over some things. Reserve stamina. get hit in the face by a mimic. Ideally you don't do that last part. And looks like they didn't actually chase me in, so that's good. The downside to the door displacement is that they can't actually follow me in here when the door looks like it's closed because its hitbox is actually still not there. And this is the other major glitch for this category, is item duping. You can see I had 6, 7, and 2.5 of each of these materials.
You have to
I'm just going to split up the stacks.
The research, the Typhon, nothing can survive.
And now I've got about 15, 13, and about 5.
But you've seen what those creatures can do. They're a part of you now. If
I'm going to use that to make a whole bunch of shotgun ammo while I'm in this cutscene.
I wish there was another way. January can walk you through activating the self-destruct mechanism.
I'm actually going to stop making it right
He's
there
allergic
because
to
I need
failure.
a certain amount of
Too proud to
materials
go
for an
back to
important
Mom and
item
Dad
later
with his
on.
tail between his legs. So it's up to you now. Good luck.
So
Told you
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 might be
wouldn't like
wondering why, if I displaced the door earlier, I'm not just leaving the office again instead of watching this cutscene. And the reason is I need to wait for January to spawn here because he has a key that I need. Luckily, you just shoot him with a bunch of glue, and he's dead. Just loot the key off him, and we're moving again. On our way to Psychotronics. And the key was actually for this door, which is why I need to kill January, unfortunately. Grab an extra med kit right there. And now on our way to Psychotronics. This first thing here, I'm going to use a recycler because it's still just one of the most useful things in the run. It's going to get rid of those crates that are blocking my path. Or at least one of them, which is good enough. I need to come down here, because I need the psychoscope. And kill that mimic just for good measure. Grab one more medkit there. If Morgan would jump.
Psychoscope required beyond this point.
And that's why I get the psychoscope. Also for something later on, but we'll get to that when I get there. Now we're coming up to another door displacement because normally you can't just go through this door. Hopefully that setup works. Looks good. Ooh. Okay, it's a little bit of a weird displacement, but it still worked. Now the funny thing with door displacements, they don't always work the same way, and it depends a lot on exactly how the recycler lands compared to where the glue is. I'm going to grab these 2 sets of spare parts, which I'm going to need later on. And now we're out of Psychotronics and on the way to Guts. So in this game, Guts is the, I guess it's sort of like a utility vent or something like that. And it's just this little low gravity set of pipes and things that lead up to the top of the station, or lead all the way from the top to the bottom. And I dropped down to the bottom there just to grab one more recycler. Now you have to fly around in zero gravity. Normally, playing this game casually, you would have been through other areas where you actually craft the propulsion system that you would use to move in zero gravity. You never actually do that, but entering zero G here just kind of assumes that you have it. Be a little bit awkward if it didn't. I shoot that with glue because when it spawns the extra little enemies out of it, when it dies, they actually cause the door to open. And some more door displacement. These are conveniently the easiest doors to displace. And also the most awkward if you don't displace them correctly. Grab one extra medkit while that door is displacing. And once I fly into the coral here, we hit a cutscene. Doesn't make a lot of sense, but it doesn't really need to. Now, since we're going down in guts instead of up, you can actually fly to the underside of this moving belt, and that will push you downward in guts. And then I'm going to grab the EMP grenade. I need that in just a second. There are some really obnoxious enemies over by the store. And the EMP grenade will hopefully keep them from being a problem. Okay, and we're through. Alright, on our way through the cargo bay because we're headed down to the power plant. The reason we have to go down to the power plant is because activating that triggers the next sequence in the story that jumps us pretty far ahead towards the end. As you might wonder, why don't I just head up to the Arboretum if you're familiar with the game? Because that's where the next part of the story would go on. And the important cutscene in Arboretum that I would need to see doesn't actually play unless I've restored power in the power plant. And more long loading screens. Just jump over the electricity because not dying is good. Just a bit of running. And now we're entering power plant. Another odd thing with this game is that you can actually move while the screen is still fading in from black. So I'm getting a little bit of extra movement in before I can actually see where I'm going. Which in most cases that's not too difficult since you're just running straight forward, but there are some spots where you need to turn right away and can't actually see where you're going while you're doing it. I'm gonna grab a key off of that body in the fire. I just kind of take the fire and deal with it. And now we're at the power plant, and there's a locked door in the way.
Next time, let's make sure we have enough spare parts to do the job right.
Roger that, boss.
Oh, well, that didn't work at all. You can kind of tell when a displacement doesn't work because the glue just kind of stays exactly where it is on the door.
Roger that, boss.
Just like that.
Ingenious. Next time, let's make sure we have enough spare parts to do the job right.
Roger that, boss.
That looks better. Yeah, looks like the door went off to that side. I can just go around it now. So just kind of jumping down to the bottom is a lot faster than actually walking. And once again, there's a locked door that I need to deal with. I don't actually know if that worked because the little creatures there that explode tend to destroy the glue while you're trying to displace the door, but it looks like it worked, which is nice. It's pretty unusual to get that displacement first try.
I can track you through your bracelet and guide you.
And I also get radiated when I'm at this part, which makes me kind of run around like I'm drunk. And that's really obnoxious, but fortunately there's some anti-rad right there, which takes care of the problem. Now this is the part of the run where those spare parts I picked up earlier matter. I need at least 6 to fix this elevator.
I'm showing power.
And that's the only part of the run where that matters, and it's also the only reason I level up the repair skill.
Chamber. Watch yourself on
Just
the
for that
ground.
one elevator.
There could be other structural damage.
Well, I see. You reset everything. Tell us one is wide
Careful,
open now.
Nathan.
Clever.
Gas alarm went
Reckless,
off in the
but clever.
coolant chamber.
And I guess an enemy was near that door, so it opened for me. That's very convenient. Hey, and the Typhon opened this door for me. What a nice guy.
I'm up to my office.
Morgan, was that you? Whatever you did, I felt it in my gut. If this is some...
Alright, so now I get to go through Guts again, only this time I'm going all the way up to the top of the station to the Arboretum. That's where I'm going to go to Alex's office. As there's a message he wants me to see, and that is on his computer. And I do a nice little swag slide under that robot. Sometimes he takes a bit better flight path and it looks a lot cooler to go right under him, but yeah. Hi. Yeah, this is that part where I had to be turning before I could actually see where I was moving.
Microgravity detected.
And we're back to flying around in zero gravity. You have really good movement, you can get out of there without getting caught in that little corner, but not a big deal.
Microgravity detected.
Alright, so this is the much worse time going through Guts, because those enemies I tried to avoid earlier are still here. There's just no good way for me to know where exactly they spawned. Awkward, but I didn't get stuck, so... Okay, now I kind of got stuck. And we're out of it. Alright, so the problem with the enemies in this area is that when you pass through here the first time, they chase you to the door that I just had to go back through. And depending on what their AI does, it's pretty random where exactly they end up when you're trying to come back through. So that can make that door fairly awkward. At this point, I'm just bumping into this moving rail because you can see normally my top speed is 9.99, but when I bump the rail, it gets me up to about 13.
Power plant has been compromised. I repeat, the power plant has been compromised. It's about time, Sam.
Alright, so now we're just about at the Arboretum. Just gotta pick up a couple things. Yeah, the any percent run for this game is ridiculous. So there are sort of, I guess, 4 categories for the game. There's any percent, which is 6:59. There's leave the station, which I don't remember exactly what the top time for that is. And there's no out of bounds and no out of bounds items. And the reason for a category called no out of bounds items might, if you've seen the any percent run, might make a little bit of sense, because with the any percent run, you just get out of bounds up here in Arboretum, and then you pick up an item that triggers the final quest in the game.
It's the truth, like I promised.
And then you just end the game. And that's why that run is as short as it is, because you can get up here really quickly, especially when you clip out of bounds.
Give it a look and we'll talk. I'm sending you the password.
But I think mainly the reason that I kind of lost interest with any percent is because it just got too short. Anyway, I've started the cutscene, and just like in Morgan's office, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the store so I don't have to sit and watch it. But I can't actually leave the Arboretum until that cutscene is done playing, so I have the entire duration of that cutscene to run around and pick up stuff. And just generally make this area, or get this area to where it's set up for some stuff I'm going to be doing here later on. So if you've played the game, you might know that Alex's safe room is behind a hidden door right there. And I don't want to have to deal with that door. I'm just going to check it and make sure it's displaced. And activate this elevator. This code is the only code in the run that's random.
Organisms have been producing an elaborate structure. Material
I'm going to come in here. I'm going to open up the airlock.
tells me it's a kind of
Which is kind of funny. The airlocks in this game, all except for 2 of them, I believe, require you to actually craft the item that allows you to move in zero gravity. It's just this one, and I think one in Psychotronics you can just open whenever you get there. Let's grab some food there, just because, and I've got time. Tried to slide down the wall to avoid fall damage, but it didn't work. I'm going to open this door now, so that that door will open up later from the other side. So, all this time, cutscene is still playing. I've pretty much done everything I need to do. But since I have time, I'll go ahead and spawn one of these and get some health back.
There you have it. Everything I've done is what you've asked me to do. I didn't think you'd believe me unless you heard it from your own mouth. Tess,
Alright, full health. I wasn't far from it anyway, but doesn't matter.
at first, but eventually, the constant stripping of your memory, I didn't know who you were anymore.
Yeah, I just go back in through the display store.
To have my brother back so we can finish what we started. The device you mentioned, it's an advanced version of the null wave. It's the only way to stop the Typhon without destroying everything we've been working toward. We're just missing some scan data from the Coral to complete the design.
Like I said, this is one of the longer cutscenes, so
Morgan.
even though I've gone around and picked up everything I need, I'm still waiting for it to end.
I don't believe you want to use it anymore, but you can have it. I left the chip set for you on my desk. You'll need to upgrade your psychoscope to scan the Coral. I'll send you the scan locations.
And the whole reason I have to wait for that cutscene to end instead of just leaving is because I need that item that was in his desk. I also think the other reason this category is not on the leaderboard is that only 2 people have ever done runs of it. Mr. Monkey, I believe, was the one who initially did the routing. I'm not sure how many runs he actually finished. It might have only been the one, just to kind of test out what the category was like. And then I picked it up after that because I really like door displacement. Alright, so this is the other part of the run that makes it necessary for me to pick up the psychoscope earlier on. It's because I need it to scan these coral nodes up ahead. So this is just a bit of flying around in space. Is space out of bounds? And if it is, this category is real awkward. Through there, and and equip the Typhon Lure because that's going to get that thing to leave me alone while I'm scanning the coral. And throw another one. There we go.
You're not what they say you are.
I do really wish door displacement was still useful at 90%.
Fascinating. It's holding.
I mean, I really liked some of the earlier any percent routes when they were still around, like, just under 20 minutes.
It's a kind of
Then you still had, like, running around out of bounds all over the place. You had collecting items out of bounds all over the place. You had door displacement. It was a good time.
just one more to go. Knew you could handle this. Our father warned me not to stake so much of the company's future on your ideas. I was right to ignore him. We're a good team, Morgan.
Alright, but now that I've scanned the coral, I need to go back to Alex's office to put that data into his computer.
What's left is integrating the data after you upload it. Hard to tell from just a scan summary, but wait.
And then the plot twist happens. Oh man, the 5-minute climb was so relaxing though.
Here's my terminal to upload the data. I'll get it integrated into the fabrication plan for the new null wave device as fast as possible. And be careful. Typhon will begin to sense our intent to harm the coral.
And so you might notice that I still have a Typhon Lure equipped.
Something for you on my desk that should help.
Yeah, that's because that is the next weapon I'm going to need. And now that I've picked up some more neuromods, I'm going to buy some more upgrades for my character, and I'm also going to upgrade the shotgun. Alright, so kind of an interesting thing that I found recently with this category. You have to wait for a specific line of dialogue from the character Walter Dahl before you leave this area, or else the shuttle that I need to go to next won't actually spawn. So for an actual PB attempt, I would leave this door and come back in, and it would put him directly to that line of dialogue. And it saves about 10 seconds of in-game time, but that means sitting through 2 extra loading screens. That was the line, it's the one that begins with one last thing. It's faster in real time to just sit there and wait for the dialogue. Alright, so this is why I needed the Typhon Lure, because I need to kill this Typhon, and it's quite nice when he just sits there and stares at the Typhon Lure.
Works into every major system of Overkill squad. I have to admit, I'm disappointed with our parents.
Okay, that was not bad, because it left me near the elevator.
Place, but a small foolish part of me.
And the reason that I need to kill that enemy is because the elevator is actually
Regardless, we're not
kind
gonna
of scrambled, and you can't
through until we do
get in or out of it or activate it while that enemy's nearby, because he just kind of
something shuttle.
scrambles all electronics near him.
Locate his access point and cut him off.
Alright, so now I'm going to the shuttle bay.
I heard the announcement. No, I will not give you up. You are there for me. I am here for you.
Alright, because in the shuttle bay, I need to go and activate a computer inside the shuttle. Which normally involves a bunch of puzzle solving to extend a bridge that would take me over to the shuttle. But we're not going to do that because it's not fast. This is also an odd area of the game that just has very low frame rate for whatever reason. Go save there. And I'm just going to casually jump to the shuttle. I'm going to drop down here, and come on. All right. Come on.
surviving
There we
crew
go.
of Talus 1.
Let's hit the button from the outside. It's usually much smoother than that.
Perhaps you blame me
So I just transfer that file, and that's going to tell me where an NPC named Casper is. And this is the only big point of RNG in the run, because there are 4 different places that Casper can spawn. There is Shuttle Exterior, which is the fastest one. There is Hardware Bay, which is the second fastest. And there's Neuromod Division, which is the third fastest. And then there's the other one, Psychotronics, which is by far the slowest. So I get to find out if I'm saving or losing time. He is Talos 1 Exterior, which is perfect. That means I can just take this elevator right away to get back up there.
Even though he's hiding, and you are running around like a nervous rat. I hear you, chewing the wires and shitting in the walls. Are you trying to...
Basically, the plot twist at this point is that Alex and Morgan's parents have decided they don't think that we have control of the station right now. Which is crazy. We're clearly in total control right now. Nothing out of the ordinary. But their solution for it was to send Walter Dahl to kill us. You know, as loving parents often do.
Workmates hiding in the cargo bay are going to suffocate in a few minutes. Maybe you can save them, but you'll have to come out of the walls, rat. Life support.
So he's just told me that he's hiding in life support right now, because he's shutting it off to try and kill people that he thinks we've met, but because we kind of didn't go to most of those places, we haven't met any of them. So we're not really worried about him. He can kill whoever he wants. So right here I've equipped the stun gun, which I picked up the first time that I came to the Arboretum, because I'm going to use that to stun Casper, because Casper is a robot.
If you can help, do it quick, or this is the last time we'll be talking.
Now, sort of the funny thing with Casper spawning at Shuttle Exterior, there are, I think, 2 or 3 places he can spawn outside. 2 of them are really fast, and 1 of them is extremely slow. The bright side is that spawn point is determined. That's the slow one. I can tell because the quest marker was straight down. Luckily, I can just keep hitting quick load until I get a better one. There we go. Now it's down and to the right. That's a fast one.
Commander Dahl, this is...
Alright, so Casper's dead, and we get to go back inside.
Nice work. I'm taking what's left of my crew to the atmosphere controls in life support. We're going to clear out Dal's shit-can operators and make sure there are no more
Also took a lot of damage out there. Alright, so now I've pulled out my stun gun again. This is kind of a funny part of the run, because now Walter Dahl, upset that we have killed his robot friend, is trying to now kill Alex Yu, who is, right now, hiding in his safe room. Lucky for us, Walter does not know that we displaced the door to Alex's safe room.
Dr. Yu? Morgan? Oh man. Thank God.
So I'm just going to run on in here, zap Alex, and I'm going to take a, ooh, he almost killed me.
I think I broke my arm when that blackout happened. Now I'm trapped. Aliens outside the door. I could really use some help, man.
Okay. I have to get to the store pretty quick after looting Alex's body, because the cutscene that plays, or not a cutscene, picking up the crafting plan off of his body triggers an event that causes the, what's it called? Giant Typhon, whatever its name was. Causes that to spawn, which just messes everything up. It also shuts off the power in Arboretum, which would mean that I couldn't leave through the door I just left through if I didn't get to it in time. Fortunately, I am all out of med packs. But I know where there's a spare in Guts that I can grab on my way. There's not too much that can kill me on the way there, except for all of these things.
Good morning, Talos. Breakfast is served in the cafeteria until 9 a.m.
So I'm going to be making generous use of the quick save button for a moment here. Okay. There is also the Typhon called Nightmare, but what I'm thinking of is the that one, kind of the giant one that's filling the entire station right now. Corners. I'm stuck on corners. Slide under the robot. And this is the last kind of risky part of the run because there are a lot of things that I can take damage from, including that mimic right there. Okay, so now I've crafted the null wave transmitter, which I need to end the game. And this is a weird displacement, right? Gotta get around it that way. Alright, pretty much in the clear now. There really isn't much of anything left that can kill me at this point. Okay. Because I can. I just ran into it. There's the hitbox for that door. It is right there now. Okay, anyway. Now I come in here to place the null wave transmitter. Right on this thing.
They're afraid. No. Nothing that interferes with memory formation.
That should do it.
Now,
Under the bridge.
I just need to get back up to Arboretum so that I can go to the bridge and activate the null wave. Now, normally if you've watched an any percent run, you know that when you get to the end and are about to activate the null wave, January is sitting there and you have to kill him before you can activate it. Luckily for no out of bounds, that's not a problem because we kill January at the start of the run and he's just not there.
Microgravity detected.
Right now we just need to do a quick fly through of Guts one last time. And that's sort of the other nice thing about door displacement is that the game actually remembers and stores the location of the door's hitboxes even after they've been displaced. Which I guess I just showed a little bit ago. Even the doors that I displaced in here are still moved into their new location. Like that one. Oh, I didn't grab the medkit. Awkward. That's a really annoying door because it's got that kind of electricity flowing around it. And it's pretty much random when it zaps you, but you know what? 1 HP is fine there. It's fine. Nothing to worry about. But now I can't even use this rail to speed myself up because if I fly into that, I just die. It's alright. I like to live dangerously. Alright. So now we're back into the Arboretum, which, like I mentioned earlier when I was leaving it before, what happens when I grab the crafting plan is that power shuts off to the Arboretum, which also includes gravity. So unlike any percent, when I get back here at this point, there's no gravity.
You did it.
I try to ricochet off of that box as it's floating up because that angles me perfectly toward the door.
And hopefully gaining a shuttle in the process.
So that bit of dialogue there is from a side quest that you get to, instead of killing Walter Dahl, to incapacitate him so that the survivors on the station can use his shuttle to get out. And kind of a funny thing with this game is that when an NPC is put into zero gravity, they instantly become incapacitated. So even though I did absolutely nothing to Walter Dahl, when zero gravity kicked on in here, he was instantly unconscious. Now we're at the end of the game, I just have to run and hit a button, and we're done. So, time is coming up very soon, and time. No, never save Igwe in this run because we're never anywhere near him. I did do a little extra thing with the final scene of the game. I understand if you have to cut it off because there's not enough. I understand if you have to cut it off because there's the. I can't talk. I understand if you have to cut it off because the marathon's running a little behind.
More importantly, our past today. This is the work TranStar does. Every employee working together. It's immortality. And it is beautiful.
Alright. So, that was Parade 2017 with no out of bounds. Yeah, thank you everybody for watching, and enjoy the rest of the marathon. I think it's Bioforge coming up next.